ignorant of me to sit up here and say the entire
Who this
process
man?
is going to lead to an end result that leads to X number of wins. I think that's irresponsible. It's not going to guarantee anything. Nothing's guaranteed. That's all we're guaranteed is an opportunity. And I have a responsibility, and I understand. Like, let's be real. Let's be honest.
Oh
We want to
goodness,
continue
what's
to
up,
win.
y'all? I just
That's
had to
absolutely
catch on because I
that's
heard
okay. Like, we live in a high
that
pressure. We work in a high pressure environment.
McNair
Expectations are high, and
was gonna be
it's about
meeting with the
performance.
media
And if I don't do my job
and
well enough,
addressing
in the end, it's my
the
record.
firing of
That
Lovie
I haven't
Smith.
done my job well enough at this point.
And
That's
now
only
we have
fair.
Casario
At some
talking,
point,
and I was
decisions will
just
have to be
so
made. And the
captivated
only thing I
by
can do is make a commitment to our building,
how
our
he
ownership group,
keeps
our players,
claiming
our
that he was
organization.
completely
And
upfront
we're going to do
with
everything we
not
can
just with
to
Lovey,
try to
but with every
follow that
coach,
result.
and how he couldn't understand people going through problematic discussions, say like, hey, I want to draft this person, or I don't want to draft that person, who has real control or say there was no
Yeah.
budge.
Well,
But like, you got to
that's
know that
I
coming in
certainly
before you
appreciative
give the
of
person the
the
job. That
support.
doesn't talk,
Yeah,
that
we're
doesn't
gonna
say bad
we're
about
gonna still have the resources
the
available.
coach. That says bad about the
There's no
GM
guarantees on
more
anything.
so.
All right,
Like, you got
and
to be
I'm
able
gonna do
to,
the best job I can. I'm gonna try to
you got to be
contribute
able
to this
to
organization the
realize
best I
that,
can.
like, hey, if this
We
coach
made
says
some
this is
progress
what I'm
in
gonna
areas. Some
do,
areas we haven't made
you got to say,
great
yes, I'm
progress,
okay
and
with
I'm
that, or
understanding
were
that.
you like,
I realize that, and I recognize that.
50-50
Not gonna
will
front on
nudge
that.
you that way.
And
Either
like I said
way,
from the
that
beginning,
that doesn't make sense.
trying to
That's an
hold myself
indictment
accountable.
on a
And
poor
in the
GM.
end, nobody's more disappointed in myself than myself. So the only thing I can do is try to come up with solutions to try to present what I believe is the best thing for our organization, and that's my commitment. That's my organization. That's my commitment to the organization. And if it's good enough, it'll be good enough. If it's not good enough, then I have to deal with the
Yeah,
consequences.
man, get
But
yeeted. I'm sorry, y'all. I want him yeeted.
yeah, I don't think we're going to pigeonhole ourselves. I mean, again, good coaches can kind of come from a lot of different places, a lot of different areas. So
Now he's
we're
talking
very
about how he
fortunate
can
to try to
favorably
make a
find the
consistent
coach, a diamond in the rough anywhere.
success for our organization. We want to be able to move the organization forward. So we want to be able to put something in place that we can have success for a sustained period of time. We're certainly not there right now, but that's the hope and that's the intention and that's the goal. So what does that lend itself to in terms of the actual coach? Um, in the end, I certainly wouldn't want to pigeonhole ourselves in what the end result is going to
I'm
be.
sorry, y'all. I'm just so taken back by this man's candid action. Like, I'm looking at McNair, and McNair is like he's letting him burn. We've only heard
Yeah,
Cal
that's what I
make the
said.
opening
The
statement, but
best
that was
player I
about
can
it.
expect. The only thing I can do is show up every day, try to do the job to my best of my ability, try to represent our players,
He
the
dodged this
organization, and our
question.
city the best
The
I can.
young lady
So
asks
I'm grateful to be afforded the
how.
opportunity.
Oh yeah, you should
And
be
like I said a
grateful.
little bit earlier,
She was asking
no
how
matter the
can
hire, no
the
matter who
NFL made like
decides
a statement about the
to
salary
feel
cap and
that
how a lot
one
of
of the
coaches
decisions that
and
I'm making
GMs are
is
on
appropriate for what we want to do
the
moving
payroll
forward.
for a lot of money and
Right?
they're still not
And so
active.
all I can
And
do
he
is
was just
provide
saying how,
counsel, provide
Lovey's
resources,
gone, but
provide
you're
progressive
here.
guidance going
What?
forward.
How
And
does that
that's really
help the
kind of the
salary
message.
cap?
And again,
He's
like I
like,
said a
oh
little bit
yeah, I'm
earlier,
just
we have
completely
some great
grateful
stories
that
to
I'm
tell.
here.
Again, it's a leadership
Lovey though,
position.
he's
It's
gone.
about leadership. It's about being able to players, motivate
Whew.
our players, create a mission for the building, work in concert and collaboration with I would
I
say,
just the
ownership group,
fans
with the
deserve
athletic
better
staff
than
group,
that.
with the football group. So all those things are part of the equation. So there's no one size fits all. I think it's very difficult to do that. There's a lot of things. I mean, you try to write a job description for a head coach. I mean, we could probably spend 2 days on a job description of what that entails. So
I would
I think
hope
there's certain traits
so.
and
There's
characteristics that
only
are going to be important.
32 of them in the world.
And, we're going to prioritize those in the interviews. And the more dialogue, the more discussion. In the end, this is about R&D. It's about research and development. It's about doing a deep dive. It's about taking the information. And it's about utilizing resources we have in front of us, trying to make the right decision. That's the best I can answer.
Man, what are we doing here in Houston, man? Y'all want to know how he kept his job? He kept his job because there was nobody else left. Yeah, he should fear for his job.
in the end, like it's about accountability. So again, like I'm not going to sit up here and nobody's happy with where we are. I think we're all disappointed about the result of the season. I'm going to work my ass off, like I've done since the day I walked the building.
Oh, and where did it get us?
That's not going to change. As far as our process, I wouldn't say it's not about an individual, what we've necessarily done in the past. I think it's,
If
like
it's
you
not
said,
about an individual,
utilizing
then
the
why is a Lovey
resources that we
gone?
have available, maybe that we didn't have available prior, and some of the way that we're piecing this together and how we're constructing it. So I think that's more illustrative of probably where we are. I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that's a little bit more clarity and direction in terms of how we're going about it, utilizing the resources that are available to us, and then utilizing it to the best of our ability and trying to use it to our advantage so we can make the right decision.
I can't get past this man. This man is he's a snake. He looks like an alien, like one of those lizard people.
I've never gambled in my life, so I've been to Vegas once and played the slot machine once. So the only thing I can say is,
You just
we're
contradicted
constructing
your
the best version of
statement.
the organization. We're disappointed with where we are. We're disappointed that we've gotten to this point. My responsibility and my job is, since I arrived here, is to evaluate everything thoroughly from a football operations standpoint. Have we gotten everything right? No, absolutely not. I'm not going to sit here and say that we've gotten everything right.
Go
But
ahead.
I think nothing
You
gets us
he
fired
almost
up.
said
As
anything.
a
So go ahead and
as
say
a
it.
team, we try to put ourselves in a position where we have an opportunity here, whether it's our capital, free acquisition, player acquisitions, and I think they're players that want to be here. So I think they believe in some of the things that we're trying to do. They believe in what we're trying to create as it
Yeah,
comes
they
to
believe
fruition.
in getting
As
a paycheck because they
as
couldn't
not,
play
but
anywhere else in the
I
league,
think we're moving in the right direction. We have a lot
and
of
then
work to
some
do
are
ahead of us,
trapped
and
here.
I'm going to be here as long as I can to try to see it
Oh
all the way
my
through.
gosh,
And that's my commitment to the people in this room. That's my commitment to the people in this building. And that's the only thing that I really know how to do. All right.
this guy.
Thank you.
He ran away.
To Mcnair, Chairman and
Thank
CEO
you,
of the
Mark
General
Vandermeer,
Manager of
man. You've
Houston
seen
area. We heard the whole thing, and
some
John Scott
horrible
will react
things,
to it on
man.
a special edition of Texans All Access Live, as we have obviously preempted the coach.
But yeah, basically, ooh, I need a drink before I go into this. Okay, so to get straight to it, Cal is basically saying that he's gonna be more involved in this coaching hire than he has been for the prior 3 or 4 years since Bill O'Brien. The first time he oversaid, he let, let's say, Easterby kind of handle it. Then he let Casario handle it, and so we went from Cully to Lovey. And this one is gonna be this is a direct handpick between the two of them who it should be. So this coach has got to be the one that's got to last for like what 4, 5 seasons. Like this is the it for this uh the Casario era. Let's call it that. Like this is his last hurrah because the media is tired of him. The fans are tired of him, and just by from this interview, the body language from Cal, like I think Cal is done with him. And if a report comes out like within the first week or so that Casario's gone too, I would not bat an eye. I wouldn't celebrate it because I don't like people losing their jobs. But like, yeah, I'm just he's the example of the smartest tool in the shed that ended up but that ended up not being used. That's what he is. He's the same as any other tool out there, the same as any bad tool, but just not being used. Because there's not a use for him. You're so smart that you can't be used. And the tone, I wouldn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the attitude, I wouldn't even be mad if he like I will say he did show some humility, but that was fake humility. That was a humility of like, hey, I got to do this in order to get what I want, which is ultimately a shot at this draft and picking what coach you want, so that you don't get fired. And does he deserve that? No, he does not. In in the grand scheme of things, Cal is at a point where I believe that his resources have been put in to find someone else to replace this man. I don't ever think of Cal just sitting on his hands and knees and waiting for something to happen. I think he's more active than that. And so I don't know if he has found that person, but when he does, he's ready to move away from this guy. He's just hoping and praying that this man just doesn't screw up this ball club for the next 10 years because he's already done it for the next 5. So this is what this is. This is a critical time for this franchise because, like, quite honestly, this might be the difference between, wouldn't call it like the either the sale or the moving of the team because this fan base is ravenous. It is. I've never seen Houston sports be this way for the Texans since since the Shopception era, or when we traded D Hop, and those were times where I really thought the team was gonna leave because they couldn't get people into the building. The people that they did get into the building were so disgusted by what they saw that it just the media and the rest of the United States were just laughing at us. And we're back in this position again. And I understand that you have this list of coaches that you want to go ahead and look at, and then, oh yeah, we got these coaches, asking to interview for the spot. But at the same time, the only reason why they're asking is because there's only 32 jobs. And guess what? You're the last at the list. You're at the bottom. This job is not desirable, especially because you have that man next to you called Nick Casario. Cal, you got to get your stuff together because, right, Vincent, I don't know. I can't even speak about what I would do because this situation is so bad. Like you got Mills coming back for another year. He's up there in Lululand after winning one dang game, saying, "Yeah, I've proven that I can win one game. I can do this." Great. In my analysis from when we started losing in the early part of the season, I was saying how this team reminds me a lot of the Dallas Cowboys, and the fact that they got a coach. Coach decided to get all these draft picks. Coach decided to know he was going to suck. Had players that could probably play, finagle the roster a little bit so they can bounce back from a weaker schedule and take over, to start their dynasty. I thought that's what they were doing with Lovey or whoever they were going to bring in at the end of the year. Now, this could still be the case, but in my opinion, if we're going to move forward with Davis Mills, and the, he has played atrocious, and I mean atrocious football, like performances. Like we're talking, whew, we're not even talking Carr level because Carr at least was credible in the pocket when he had time. Like we're talking. I can't remember the kid that Bill O'Brien first came in. He was like a tall guy. Uh, it's not Mallet. It's a Mallet. Anyways, that level of performance, ineptitude at the QB position for 10 weeks straight. A good game there and there, but 10 weeks straight of that is awful. He ranks dead last in passing, number one in interceptions though. So there you go. Um, we're in just a bad spot overall, and it's got to get better. And the only way for it to get better is if Cal decides, which is what I think he's doing. I'm hoping and praying this is what he's doing, is setting the record straight. Like, hey man, you ain't got no more chances. You this is it. Like I feel like Cal was embarrassed. I really do because the amount of effort, and not even effort, but like support that the fans have put into this season for it to go the way that it did, and for you to just sit on your hands and just do nothing and be okay. This is fine. This is fine. I know who to attack now. I'm gonna go for Lovey because this is all Lovey's fault. And then the question becomes at the end, which I think they're gonna touch on it. At least media will. You say it's not about an individual. Then why is Lovey gone? Why are you still here? And that's a contradiction statement. It's a team effort here. If it's not about an individual, then both of y'all need to go. Like he got backed into a corner by Landry, and I think that was great because it's telling. And when on the camera or whatever, it looked like Cal's ears kind of perked up there to that statement because it's true. It is 100% true. But what are let's see. It's so the standard for NFL head coach in at the Houston Texans organization right now, it is not 3 wins. It is not four. It is probably five. 5 wins will get you another season as an NFL head coach. Not about your race, not about your if you have a Super Bowl ring or not. It's literally if you can get 5 wins. You can't go 3 seasons with less than 5 wins. Okay, so we're gonna bring this guy in here. Let's say he hits the first year for 5 wins. He hits the second year for 5 wins. He hits the third year for 5 wins. Are we gonna be back here asking again? Should we fire this guy? And we're gonna keep to that standard? No, he's doing all right. Like there are great coaches in the NFL. Like not just now, but like in history. Like I think one of the best ones right now, in my opinion, is Tomlin. Tomlin went from having I think it was like 1-4, 1-5 to turning that team around to now they're 8-8. He hasn't had a year where he has gone below 500. That's insane. The Steelers only had like maybe 5 head coaches, and like he's one of the best ever. And he's young, and you're gonna sit there. Yeah, I just like that don't make no sense. How we can't even get one. But like I said, there's only 32 teams. So yeah, so going back to that one where they talked about the search that they had when they conducted that joint group search or whatever to outline the best head coach, and then we ended up with Cully. Like, not they didn't end up with Cully because they didn't have information handed to them. They had all the cards on the table, and I hate the fact that Cal paid money to them to never disclose what was happening in that article or that meeting or whatever where they were nominating people to go, because I honestly want to know what were their suggestions, because I do not believe that the best suggestion was to take Cully. I truly believe that Easterby and this Casario character decided to go ahead and go with the Cully option as opposed to getting a real head coach at the time. So then that led us to this next part where at the end of the year there was no reason to fire Cully, like at all. The only one that you had was where if you wanted to get this quarterback, I don't even think it's Gannon. What's his name? Jesus, his name. He was a backup for a couple of years, but I can't remember his name. Anyways, they wanted to get this quarterback as a head coach. He had no coaching experience, but they figured, hey, we could better choose him than Cully to teach him up to where we want to be, and then we'll put him in the slot, and everything will be fine. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. Because you fired Gully, found out that there was a lawsuit pending against Flores and everybody else because they saw what you were doing, and you had to backtrack. And you backtracked so hard that you backtracked into your own dang building, and you said, hey man, we got this other, NFL head coach that went to the Super Bowl. He's just sitting on our staff. Why not elevate him? Because, he's so much more better than Cully. Well, if that was the case, why not have done that from the start when you were trying to look around and say, hey, we ain't got no, head coaches that will come to us in this situation, and the people that we want to go out there and hire turned us down. So elevate, hire this guy that will never get a shot in Cully, or hire Lovie Smith right then and there. I believe they approached Lovie the first time, and Lovie said no because he didn't want those losses on his resume just to be thrown away like he was this year. And so you went with Cully. Then after that, you said, "Oh man, we got to get. I can't steal with Cully. I can't take him, picking and jeopardizing these picks. So we'll eat the money. So y'all ate the money. Then you look back after being backtracked into your own building, hired Lovey, Oh, I'm exhausted because this is just crazy to me that these last 4 years have gone the way that they have. Lovey gets in there immediately. You can tell that he's an old school coach. Fan base rejects it. Players are I wouldn't call it regression, but the style of play that Lovey trying to implement will make it to where you can survive a season, but building off of that, you can build a Super Bowl team out of that. It just takes a couple of years, and it may not be what you wanted, which was a stopgap coach that I can actually go into the next season where we got all these draft picks, where we got all this cap money, and pick who I want to go to, enjoy the spoils of his hard work, because that's typically, or I was gonna call it typically, but technically, what's going on here is that Lovey did the hard work, the grunt work. Like they think that man up and down because he did. He went through every single game this season with subpar talent on the roster, with no hopes, or I just want to hear the white lie that he told him at the beginning when he signed his name on that contract, where he was saying that, oh, I was very upfront with him. What was he supposed to win 10 games? Was he supposed to win eight, six? Well, if you told me he was supposed to win five, I can live with that. But if you tell me that he was supposed to win eight dang games and he would keep his job, he couldn't. Not with that crap that they got on that roster. There's no way. And you wouldn't trade. And then the people that you did trade for a sign, you cut like less than a week. Like they got the running back who was supposed to give Pierce a breather throughout the rest of the year, and instead you go to Rex Burkhead and Dumba Wale or whatever, still on the roster, barely got any touches this season, which I'm just thankful he wasn't hurt and he can go ahead and try to get asked for some more money this upcoming year with Pierce, which is great. But like you had the guy up there, you ran him third week because apparently it takes 3 weeks for you to learn how to what you've been doing the entirety of your career, which is run the dang ball and make sure you don't fumble. He only got like maybe 3 touches, and of them, your dang guard destroyed. Like just forgot how to play, or he was just overpowered and let the defensive nose tackle just wreck shop on the poor running back. And that's enough. I've seen enough now. You gave up on him, and you cut him, and he's gonna end up playing for another team this off next season where he gets paid a lot of money. Gonna be better than what you got on the field, and it's gonna be tragic. So here's my question for most of y'all out there. They go five, let's say 5-11 or whatever the heck it is. They can only win 5 games next year with this new coach. They have all their draft picks. They can do whatever they want. To say they picked the quarterback this year, okay, great. Where do we go with Nick after that? Is is it better for us to cut him to tuck ties with him right now, where we are at the peak of our value, where we have all these draft picks, where we can get another GM that we want, somebody that isn't tied to this New England, this New England stuff, or should we just let him play it out? Because right now we don't even know if he's any good. He has for the most part failed at every aspect of the GM position. He has not evaluated talent correctly when it is a pro that has already proven themselves in the league, whether it's a untapped rookie, whether it's a street pickup. He can't do that during the scouting process for the draft. He can do that. I will give him that. He does have one of the best scouting networks out there in the league. But if you can't sign free agents or capitalize on weaknesses in your holes of the roster, then if you're a coach, you're just left with whatever you got, which 9 out of 10 is the bare bones. Like coming into this offensive line was ranked, I think it was like 27, 28, and it proved to be 30th, which is because the interior of this offensive line, Gray Nate Britt was supposed to be here. I don't think he saw him from last year. Like he wasn't that good anyways. But like you put that much money invested into the tackles and you got your young guard. You thought you would pair him up with a veteran and Britt right next to the side of him. That'd be great. And instead, you ended up going with Cressenberry and Can, and we all saw how that is. That is the worst offensive line performances I have seen since Carr getting murdered, getting plastered on the dang turf in NRG. I mean not NRG in yeah no in NRG just years ago where that man had to he was wearing defensive linemen for months because the offensive line was so atrocious. And the same thing for Mills. And quite frankly, thank you, Mills. You went through a horrible season where you had no offensive line, where your first read was literally Rex Burkhead on third downs. Don't know how this happens. I mean, Jesus. Yeah, I'm gonna stop. I'm sorry, I'm going on too far. No, because he's more on the mindset that everything's bad. Yes, but I'm ready to move on and do better things. He's claiming to acknowledge things that he hasn't acknowledged, which is the fact that we're in this position not because of Lovey, but we're in this position because of you, specifically you. You had the choice to dress, sit and dress whoever plays the next week, and you chose to just sit on your hands and delegate to Lovey. And Lovey, I bet when he went into the office and told Cal, like, "Hey man, look, I can stick around for this next little part. I can do it. I bet you I can show you. I can go win this game." And Cal was like, "Okay." And Nick didn't like that because he was under the impression that they were just gonna lose that game. And you could tell because when you watched the game and they showed, first off, Cal, congratulations, you flew with the team for the last game of the season. Congrats, you respectively did that for Lovey and the players. Thank you. But when you do that and you saw the fact that it came down to the fourth, he didn't want to celebrate. The fourth quarter, he did not want to celebrate when they were winning down there because he was under the impression that Lovey would lose that dang game. And then when they won, and some of the players went up to him, and he had that fake capitalist smile on his face while he shook those hands because he realized that he lost the first overall pick. And make matters worse, as soon as you land in Houston at 10 something a.m., you just let the guy go. You couldn't even wait. He must have been mad. He must have been furious. And I don't know if that's on Cal. I bet he screamed at Cal the whole flight back. I don't even know if Cal flew. I mean, what's it called? Casaria flew with them or not. But just, you couldn't even wait till midnight, which is I think it's called like Black Monday or whatever, where all the coaches get fired. But like that's just this is the state of our team right now. So we got a couple of coaches that we're looking for. We have draft picks, and we have Nick Casario, whatever that's worth. Um, I as a fan, I just don't wanna. I think I don't want to check out, but I'm getting close to it. When they let go of Watson and when they that season was rough. That season was really rough. This season was atrocious. And then now we're gonna start to rebuild. So those first two attempts was just taking on the chin. We got nothing we can do about it, even though we messed ourselves up. I mean, don't get me started. Yeah, the Brandon Cooks situation where the guy is literally blackmailing you. He's holding you by the screws, the cojones, and you let him back in your building because you got greedy at the trade deadline, and you get to sit there next to the owner, and the head coach is gone. I don't know. I don't know what type of techniques he's learned. If Bill Belichick is probably just laughing his butt out at the devastation that he did for the Texans. I mean, he's his tree single handedly has destroyed this organization. Millions of fans for decades, literally decades now, because we're in 20 years. He has caused terror for. Yeah, I don't know where we go from here. We go. Hmm. Honestly, if this man trades down this pick, and there's a possibility that he will, so that he can get some offensive linemen, some defensive linemen, and strengthen and bolster that wide receiver core. If he does this and doesn't take one of the two quarterbacks, because, or even worst case scenario, he trades up and then tries to pick this quarterback. This city will drag NRG and the Texans into the Gulf and leave them there. They will throw away everything. The brand new jerseys that y'all gonna make, we're just gonna throw them into the Gulf of Mexico. Like, this fan base, it's almost resembles the Cleveland Browns. And like, I see how the Browns are hyped because they finally have a franchise quarterback. They really do. I mean, I seen when they came here, I saw Sabansky, I think that's the coach's name, his system of offense, and if Watson could pretty much learn how to step up or climb up into the pocket the way that they have it designed, they're gonna win a lot of games. Like, I'm worried for Tomlin because that might be his first season where he literally finishes below 500 against that squad. And if if Lamar leaves there, all you got to worry about then at that point is Cincy, and I think they got their numbers if they stay healthy, but that's a different topic. Yeah, the same. So here's my thing: if you were gonna fire him, and I feel like, and this is just my speculation, when the NFL had brought out the report about how much money they were losing or has been put on dead cap for most of the teams because the GMs or coaches have been fired and they're paying for people that's not even in their buildings. I believe that week after the Miami game, when Cal went to that presser, that he was planning on letting Lovie go there, and they put out that report, stopped all of that, and they went on, and you could tell because there was a tone shift from after that press conference to the rest of the season about Lovey. Lovey was checked out. I feel like they let him know that he was not, returning or whatever, or they were moving into a different direction because it was a sudden. He went from positivity to angry. Then he went back to positive, talking about the greats and the goods and all that, like almost biding his time because he realized he wasn't going to be there for much longer. And Pep, I'm so glad that your son is gonna be in the league in a couple of years, cause I don't know what you're doing on the sideline, my bro. That was atrocious, and I understand you can't do nothing if you don't got any guards. I mean, but a center and guard connection is required, and you can't. It did. Just it's so bad. It's so bad, and all of it can be fixed. I will say that all of it can be fixed. The hard part, the worst of the worst has gone through. Whether it's with Nick Casario or without him, the worst of the worst has gone past. But it was ugly. It was ugly. No, I haven't seen their sales numbers. I will ask Cap and Trade about that because I want to see what did it take for Cal to get involved like he is right now. Like, how much money was he losing to where he was like, oh, no, 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 none of this. We gotta fix this. Yeah, just I'm gonna get off this, but I just saw that he was talking, so I had to come and just watch this. Ugh, it's a rough, rough time. Oh yeah, them Cowboy fans are laughing. What was it Tierra's dad? He was like, "Oh yeah, I got this Dak Prescott jersey for you. I heard you were missing the number 4. It's just waiting for you in the closet. You know, you can wear it anytime." Just like, oh my gosh, gotta live through this again. But yeah, we're gonna keep up to dates when we're gonna have more information over it. But yeah, I'm gonna go get some food. Yeah, it's not even the fact that Lovey went first. It's the simple fact that there's a chance. Well, it's not even a chance. It's guaranteed that they're gonna keep Casario. It's not as much it's the wrong decision, but it's the question of why shouldn't they move on? Can you tell me the reason why we shouldn't move on? And I don't think they asked that at that press conference, but to the fans is the question of if we moved on from the second coach back to back, why are you still here? You shouldn't be you shouldn't you tied yourself to the like a GM that hires 3 back to back to back. There's only happened one time, and that was with San Francisco, and that GM didn't turn it around, and they got rid of him. And then the next person came in and got all his spoils. Like if this happens, so be it. We'll eat the 4 or 5 wins that come the next season and move on from their Casario. But just if you can't answer that question, why do we gotta invest in you? I took down my Foster jersey because I don't have faith in you. Like I just don't. And it's an awful thing to say as a fan that you don't have faith in your team, but they have proven over the past, let's say 4 to 5, going on 5 years, that you can't put value in them. You can't. And I will give commend our fan base because we went through the rough 4 to 5 years of this, and that corner is just on the other side, and it's gonna be a question of it's gonna be with Casario or without him, and I don't know. Judging from the way that Cal was looking at that presser, like Cal is no dummy. He's observant, but just yeah, it's rough. But all right, I'll see y'all later. Yeah, later.